Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm going to tell you how I told my parents I was pregnant with Jace. So just long story short, I had a miscarriage before that. So when I told my parents, when I told my mom, it actually wasn't even me, it was my sister, and wasn't a good reaction anyways. My mom was pissed. I don't blame her. She was pissed. So I knew coming up this time how I needed to tell her. When I found out I was pregnant with Jace, I was 18 years old. Blaine was 17. I found out I was pregnant with Jace in September of 2012. That wasn't even 1 year of Blaine and I being together. We got together, nope, that was exactly 1 year. I remember on our anniversary, our 1 year anniversary, we went to Tony Aroma's, and I was probably just like a few weeks pregnant because I ordered ribs, and I usually, I love ribs, and I just couldn't eat them. I felt so sick, and I remember leaving being like, that was a waste of money, because Tony Aroma's is a little bit more pricey here, and we're not rich, especially at 17 and 18. At that point in time, neither of our parents knew. When I finally decided to tell my mom that I was pregnant, I can't remember how far along I was, but I was far along enough that you couldn't really do anything about it anymore. And I made that like a point to make sure I was that far along. I was over 12 weeks anyways. I was probably like 12 or 13 weeks. No, I'd say I was like 14 or 15 weeks when we decided to tell my mom about Jace. And when I told my mom, I had already had an ultrasound. I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. Yeah, but I already had an ultrasound, so I went to her school and I told her I needed to meet her outside, and I couldn't remember for what reason. I just knew that if I did it at her workplace, she couldn't freak out. So I told her to come outside, and we were in the car, and I don't even remember the conversation, but I showed her the ultrasound pictures, and I don't think she wasn't happy again, but she didn't freak out like the first time. Just probably because she's already been through it with me. So I told her how far along I was, and that this time hopefully it works out. So my mom didn't freak out, but she just wasn't happy, and then we just dealt with it. And when I told my dad, he was happy and he cried, but I told him over text message. I was sitting at the kitchen table, actually in this house. This used to be my mom's house, and I bought it off her. But I was sitting in the kitchen table at this house, and I was just like, should I do it? I was like, just do it. So I texted him, and he cried. That was surprising. It was a weird reaction for me to get from my dad. But why? He's emotional. He's such an emotional person. I don't know why. But it's just when you're 18 and pregnant, telling your parents that you're pregnant, you're never going to expect a good reaction. Blaine's parents were happy, which I found super weird. Just because my parents were not happy. Well, my mom wasn't happy. My dad was just my dad. And we told Blaine's mom when I was like even further along than my mom. We might have even have known the sex of the baby when we told her. Possibly. I remember being like 16. We were over 16 weeks, and my sister-in-law's now husband said, he was like, you could really tell that you're pregnant, and Janine didn't know at the time. But then we told her soon after that, and we told her by showing her an ultrasound picture. So that was how I told my parents I was pregnant with Jace. With Marley, honestly, with Marley, my mom, I just like told her basically as soon as I knew. Just because they knew that I was thinking about having another baby. I told my mom that as soon as I knew, basically, just because like I was talking to her before Marley was born about if I wanted, before Marley was even conceived, that I wanted to have another baby. I was back and forth. I wasn't sure. It was dog or Marley, and I got the dog, which was Jeffrey, and then I still wanted the baby. Should have just had the baby and then only had one dog. So now I have 2 dogs and 2 babies. But, so when I told my mom, she didn't seem happy again. And I remember that, I can't remember, but I can't remember how I said it, but I remember I told her, and she didn't have a good reaction again, and I was like, Mom, I'm married, and we own our house, and Jace wants a sibling, and at the time, I had a permanent job. Blaine owns his own company. It was just like, what the hell? And then 5 minutes later, she came up to me and congratulated me. So, like, she always has a crappy reaction. Everyone's reaction this time around was different just because we were married and older, own the house. We had everything set out, unlike before when we were still living in Blaine's parents' basement. That was how I told my parents I was pregnant story. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.